Welcome to Tick Drop Watch Everything. Right now, outside luxury boutiques from Tokyo to New York, people are sleeping on the concrete.
Yeah, it's absolute madness out there.
It really is. Like, they have pitched nylon tents on the sidewalk. They are sitting in these cheap folding camping chairs, just, clutching thermoses of coffee to stay warm through the night.
Which is wild, right? Because of what they're actually waiting for.
Exactly. Here's the crazy part. They aren't waiting for a Rolex.
Right.
They aren't waiting for a $30,000 Patek Philippe. They are braving the cold for days for a plastic pocket watch.
A bioceramic pocket watch, to be fair.
Okay, sure. Bioceramic. But today we're doing a deep dive into the breaking news earthquake that drops this coming Saturday, May 16th, the Audemars Piguet Swatch Royal Pop.
It is, without a doubt, the defining horological story of the year. I mean, honestly, it might be the biggest corporate collision in modern watch history.
Oh, absolutely. So our mission today is to cut through all this insane internet-breaking hype. We're going to figure out exactly what this object is, how it works, and most importantly, tackle the debate that is absolutely tearing the watch community apart right now.
Yeah, the forums are just melting down.
They really are. People are asking, is this a masterstroke of marketing genius, or is it the single biggest mistake in luxury watch history? So whether you're a hardcore watch nerd who, recites reference numbers from memory, or you just love watching a massive pop culture phenomenon unfold in real time, you need to know why this little piece of plastic is setting the internet on fire.
And, to really understand why people are willing to sleep on the pavement for this, we have to look at the backstory. Because this isn't just a fun new product drop.
No, it's way bigger than that.
Right. It is a massive paradigm shift for the entire Swiss watch industry.
Okay, let's unpack that. Because I'm sure a lot of you listening are thinking, wait, haven't we seen this movie before?
Right, the MoonSwatch.
Exactly. Back in 2022, Swatch released the MoonSwatch, and people went absolutely crazy for a plastic Omega Speedmaster. And then they did the blank pane Scuba 50 Fathoms.
Yeah, they did.
So why is everyone acting like this AP collaboration is so shocking? Isn't it just the exact same playbook?
It looks like the same playbook on the surface, sure. But the business reality behind the scenes is, well, it's completely different.
How so?
Well, when Swatch collaborated with Omega, or when they worked with Blancpain, it's crucial to remember that Omega and Blancpain are both owned by the Swatch Group parent company.
Ah, right. So it was all in the family.
Exactly. It was essentially one giant conglomerate moving its own intellectual property around its own chessboard.
Yeah.
It was, Swatch playing with itself.
Right.
The approvals, the manufacturing, the brand alignment, it was all kept safely in-house. But Audemars Piguet, they are not in the Swatch Group.
They aren't in any group, are they? Like, they're totally independent.
Fiercely independent. They're family-controlled, and they sit at the very pinnacle of Swiss watchmaking as one of these so-called Holy Trinity.
Right, alongside Patek Philippe and Vacheron Constantin.
Exactly. And their absolute crown jewel is the Royal Oak. I mean, the Royal Oak was sketched by the legendary designer Gerald Genta in a single night back in 1971.
Which is an insane story on its own.
It really is. And it literally saved the company during the quartz crisis. So for the last 54 years, Audemars Piguet has ruthlessly protected that iconic octagonal silhouette.
Which makes this Saturday so wild. Because, they have never licensed that shape out to anyone.
Never. Yes, they have done collaborations. They've made watches with Marvel. They've worked with Travis Scott.
Sure, but those were different.
Very different. Every single one of those projects was manufactured inside AP's own pristine factory walls in Brassus. They were made on AP's machinery and sold at AP's staggering luxury price points.
Right, you're still paying $50,000 for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the idea that the sacred Royal Oak design language is just like walking out the front door, being made in a mass production facility, and landing in a Swatch boutique.
It's crazy.
It completely shakes the foundation of how luxury scarcity works.
It really does. It's like Ferrari suddenly giving Honda the official blueprints to build a Civic that looks exactly like a Testarossa, and Enzo Ferrari just gives it his official blessing.
That is a perfect analogy.
It just does not compute in the traditional luxury mindset. But, okay, if that partnership is a shock, the actual format they chose for the Royal Pop is an absolute curveball.
Oh, it really is. Because everyone in the community was holding their breath for a bioceramic wristwatch.
Right.
But the Royal Pop is not a wristwatch at all.
No, it is not. If you look at the specs, it is a 40-millimeter bioceramic pocket watch.
Well,
It's 8.4 millimeters thick, and instead of a strap, it's designed to be worn on this calfskin lanyard around your neck.
or clipped to a bag.
Right. Or you can snap it into a little removable stand and just use it as a desk clock. So it's fundamentally an accessory. But the chatter online mentions this format is actually drawing on two very specific pieces of history. What is the heritage here?
Well, it's actually a very clever historical mashup. On the Audemars Piguet side, they are directly referencing the reference 5691.
Okay, I don't know that one.
It was AP's very first octagonal pocket watch. So that proves they actually have a legitimate historical precedent for a pocket-sized octagon.
Ah, okay, so it's not totally out of left field.
Right. But then on the Swatch side, they are resurrecting the spirit of the Swatch POP line from 1986.
Oh man, I remember those. The wildly colorful, chunky watches where you could literally just pop the dial out of the strap.
Exactly. And clip it onto a denim jacket or backpack.
So 80s.
Totally. So they are merging AP's elite geometric heritage with Swatch's most playful, disruptive pop culture accessory. And they're offering it in 8 wildly colorful models.
Which is a direct nod to the 8 sides of the Royal Oak bezel, right?
You got it. But what's fascinating is how they split those 8 models into 2 very traditional pocket watch configurations, the Lapine and the Savonnette.
Okay, so I know my way around wristwatches, but traditional pocket watch terminology is like a totally different language. What is the actual difference between a Lapine and a Savonnette?
It essentially comes down to the placement of the winding crown and how the watch was historically used.
Okay.
So 6 of these models are Lapine. That means it's an open-face design where the winding crown sits right at the top at the 12 o'clock position.
Got it.
Historically, that made it easy to just slide it vertically into a waistcoat pocket and wind it right from the top.
Okay, crown at the top for the Lapine and the Savonnette.
The Savonnette, which makes up the remaining 2 models in this collection, is traditionally what we call a hunter case style.
Hunter case.
Yeah. Originally, hunter pocket watches had a metal lid that snapped over the glass to protect it, while you were out riding horses or hunting.
Makes sense.
Right. And because of how you naturally hold a pocket watch with a lid in your right hand and thumb the latch to open it, the crown on a Savonnette is moved to the 3 o'clock position.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Now, the Royal Pop obviously doesn't have a metal lid, but it keeps that Savonnette mechanical layout. So the crown is at 3 o'clock, and it features a small running seconds sub-dial down at the 6 o'clock position.
Okay, so speaking of the mechanics, this is where the release gets genuinely surprising for me.
Oh, definitely.
They didn't just throw a cheap disposable quartz battery movement into this thing, did they?
Not at all. And that is a huge differentiator from the MoonSwatch.
Yeah.
They actually engineered a brand new hand-wound mechanical version of the System 51 movement.
Wow.
Yeah, it holds 15 active patents. It delivers over 90 hours of power reserve. And this is key. They integrated an anti-magnetic Nevacron balance spring.
Now wait, pause on that for a second. Because, an anti-magnetic spring sounds really impressive on a spec sheet.
It does.
But why does that actually matter for a plastic pocket watch?
It matters precisely because of how they want you to wear it. Think about modern life.
Okay.
If you have this watch dangling on a lanyard next to your smartphone in your breast pocket,
Oh, right.
or resting on its little stand on a desk right next to your laptop, it is constantly surrounded by strong magnetic fields.
Magnets everywhere.
Right. And normally, magnets are absolute kryptonite to a mechanical watch. They magnetize the tiny metal coils inside, causing the watch to run erratically or just stop entirely.
Right, I've had that happen.
So by using the Nevacron alloy, which, by the way, AP actually uses in some of their own high-end pieces, they ensure this watch actually keeps accurate time in a tech-heavy environment.
Okay, that makes perfect practical sense. Now, there was also a really nerdy visual feature on the back of the watch regarding the power reserve. Can you explain how that works?
Oh, it's one of the most delightful engineering details of the whole project. So the movement is visible through a sapphire exhibition caseback.
I always love a clear caseback.
Right. Now, inside any mechanical watch, the power comes from a tightly coiled ribbon of metal called the mainspring, which lives inside a little drum called the barrel.
Right.
Usually that barrel is completely sealed. You can't see inside it at all.
It's just a solid metal gear, basically.
Yeah. But here, they open work the barrel, so they cut away sections of the drum so you can actually see the spring inside.
Oh, that's cool.
And they use that visibility to create a mechanical power reserve indicator.
How so?
Well, when you look at the barrel and the chambers look gray, You are actually seeing the gaps between the uncoiled spring.
Okay.
That tells you the watch is out of energy and needs to be hand wound. But as you turn the crown and wind it, the spring compresses tightly together into a solid golden mass.
That is so clever.
Isn't it? So
Yeah.
when that barrel looks solid gold, you know the watch is fully wound for the next 90 hours. It is just a stunning, highly visual piece of accessible mechanical engineering.
Okay, I bet that is incredibly cool. But here is where we really need to have a serious reality check. Because if we look at cause and effect here, you have this genuinely impressive, intricate 90-hour mechanical movement.
Yes.
And you are housing it in an 8.4 millimeter thick bioceramic shell, essentially plastic.
Bioceramic.
Whatever. And you are telling people to let it bounce around on a lanyard against their chest or like swing wildly from a backpack zipper without a heavy steel or gold case protecting it. Isn't that just a massive engineering mismatch?
I knew.
Isn't that asking for a shattered mechanical movement the very first time you lean over a granite countertop too fast?
Okay. It is a totally valid concern. Bioceramic is scratch-resistant and durable up to a point, but a mechanical escapement is inherently fragile.
Very fragile.
It has microscopic pivots that can snap under high shock.
Mm.
You are undeniably taking a much higher risk wearing a mechanical movement as a dangling charm compared to having it secured tightly to your wrist.
Exactly.
But honestly, that functional vulnerability is just the tip of the iceberg here. The real controversy isn't the shock resistance, it's the philosophy of the release itself.
Oh, absolutely. The debate is raging in every forum, every comment section, and watch club right now. The community is just completely polarized, and honestly, I have to take a hard stand here.
Okay, let's hear it.
I think this release is absolute brand suicide for Audemars Piguet. I really do.
Brand suicide. Those are strong words. Why suicide?
Because it completely cheapens the Royal Oak. I mean, think about the reality of the luxury market right now.
Right.
A real stainless steel Royal Oak costs north of $30,000 at retail. And that's if you can even get one.
Big if.
You can't just walk into a boutique with cash. You have to beg an authorized dealer, build up an incredible purchase history of watches you don't even want, and wait on a list for years just for the privilege of spending that money.
Is the velvet rope of the watch world.
Exactly. And now they are turning that sacred, revered silhouette into a $400 plastic trinket that dangles from a teenager's backpack.
That's playful.
It's like those viral Labubu plushy charms everyone is clicking to their bags right now. It destroys the very aura of exclusivity that makes AP desirable in the first place.
I don't know about that.
Seriously, if you read the comments from hardcore longtime collectors, they are furious. They feel like the prestige they paid tens of thousands of dollars for has just been sold out for a quick cash grab.
Okay, I hear that argument. And, I understand the emotional reaction from owners who feel protective of their investment.
Yeah.
But I have to strongly disagree with you. I think this is an absolute masterclass in corporate strategy from AP.
A masterclass.
Yes. And the brilliant part, the absolute genius of it, is exactly the fact that it isn't a wristwatch.
How does making it a pocket watch save the brand equity? That makes no sense.
It's what I like to call the format loophole, or creating parallel prestige.
Okay, explain that.
If AP had allowed Swatch to make a bioceramic Royal Oak wristwatch, that would absolutely cannibalize their core product. It would be a direct, cheap replacement.
Right.
But by making it a lanyard accessory or a desk clock, they protect the equity of the true wristwatch.
Because they aren't competing for wrist space.
Precisely. They aren't replacing the real thing. They are creating a parallel pop art object. It democratizes the design language without touching the core luxury product.
I mean, I guess.
AP's CEO explicitly noted that this is about introducing the geometry, the shape, the pure idea of the Royal Oak to an entirely new, younger generation of enthusiasts.
Planting seeds.
Exactly. They are planting seeds for the future. And as a brilliant PR move to counter your cash grab narrative,
Yeah.
AP is taking 100% of their proceeds from this project and donating it to preserve rare, endangered watchmaking skills and to train the next generation of horologists.
Well, okay.
That isn't a cash grab. That is a high-integrity heritage play.
Okay. I see the marketing spin. I appreciate the format loophole as a theory.
It's a good theory.
But you are missing a massive, glaring reality of how consumers actually behave.
What's that?
You say it protects the wristwatch equity because it's not a wristwatch, but what happens when the aftermarket steps in?
You're talking about the modding community.
Exactly. The internet forums are already full of people trading CAD files to 3D print plastic and metal housing kits to pop these bioceramic cases into. Think about the Savonette model you explained earlier.
The one with the crown at 3 o'clock.
Right. If the crown was at 12, putting it on a wristband would look weird and awkward. But with the crown at 3 o'clock, it is perfectly aligned.
That's true.
It is practically begging to be dropped into a fake aftermarket royal oak bracelet. The second this gets strapped to a wrist via a third-party accessory, doesn't AP's entire "it's just a pocket watch" defense completely fall apart? These things are going to be strapped to wrists by Sunday morning.
That raises a really fascinating question about how much control a luxury brand actually retains once a product enters the wild.
None.
You're right. Aftermarket wristbands are inevitable. People will absolutely turn these into wristwatches. But AP knows this. They aren't naive. They're playing a much longer game here.
Are they?
Yes. To understand their confidence, we really have to look at the precedent set by the MoonSwatch.
Right, because when the MoonSwatch dropped, everyone had the exact same panic. The purists said it would destroy the legacy of the Omega Speedmaster.
And what actually happened? The MoonSwatch was a wild success. It sold over 2 million units. It did not kill the Speedmaster.
No, it didn't.
In fact, Omega reported that it actually increased global awareness and drove up demand and sales for the real multi-thousand-dollar Omega Speedmaster.
Oh, wow.
It acted as a gateway drug. Millions of people who had never cared about mechanical chronographs suddenly wanted the real thing. Yeah. AP is betting that the Royal Pop will do the exact same thing for the Royal Oak.
But see, the financial barrier to entry here is fundamentally different. The MoonSwatch was a quartz watch that cost around $260.
Right.
The Royal Pop is asking for a lot more money.
Right.
The Lapine models are $400, and the Savonette models are $420.
That's true.
That is a very steep price for a plastic desk clock, even with a clever mechanical movement inside.
It is significantly more expensive, yes.
Yeah.
Which makes those massive queues of people sleeping on the concrete right now even more fascinating.
Yeah, why are they doing it?
Right. If it's a fragile, controversial plastic watch that costs over $400, why are thousands of people waiting for days?
Well, that brings us perfectly to the drop mechanics and the harsh reality of the secondary market. If you are listening to this right now and thinking about joining that line, you need to understand the artificial scarcity Swatch has engineered.
It's brutal.
This drops on Saturday, May 16th. It is in-store only. There are absolutely no online sales at launch.
None.
And there is a strict limit of 1 watch per person per day per store.
Which means the logistics of this drop are going to be absolute chaos. The flagship stores in major hubs like New York Soho or London or Tokyo, those lines are going to be a nightmare, and a lot of people are going to go home empty-handed.
The consensus advice from the dealer networks is clear. Avoid the flagships at all costs. If you really want one of these, you need to find a participating Swatch boutique in a smaller city or like a secondary suburban mall.
Even then, good luck.
Right. And you have to realize who you are standing in line with, because a huge percentage of the people huddled in those tents right now, they do not care about the anti-magnetic Nivacron spring.
Not at all.
They do not care about Gerald Genta or the 1971 Heritage.
No, they don't. They care about the arbitrage. They care about the flip.
Exactly. The gray market is going to explode the second those boutique doors open. Based on the dealer speculation and the historical data from the MoonSwatch launch, we are looking at instant return on investment.
Massive returns.
You will see these watches listed on eBay and Chrono24 by lunchtime on Saturday, and they will be asking and probably getting multiples of that $400 retail price.
The psychology of the gray market just thrives on this exact kind of hype cycle. It's a powerful and, sometimes very ugly force.
Which means if you're listening to this right now from a camping chair outside a Swatch store, you have to ask yourself a hard question. Are you freezing out there for the love of horology? Do you genuinely want to own a quirky piece of pop art history to put on your desk? Or are you just trying to endure 6 hours on cold concrete to scalp a piece of plastic for a quick $1,000 profit?
That's the real question.
Because that flipper reality colors the entire perception of this release.
It absolutely does. It forces us to separate the object itself from the frenzy surrounding it, which I think brings us to the ultimate question we have to answer before Saturday morning.
The verdict.
Yeah. The doors are about to open. Do we buy into the hype or do we walk away? What is your final verdict? Buy or skip?
I am planting my flag firmly in the skip camp.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I love the audacity of the corporate partnership, I really do. But practically, the pocket watch format just feels way too gimmicky to me.
I could see that.
I just don't see myself wearing a mechanical watch on a lanyard. like a gym teacher's whistle. And more importantly, an 8.4 millimeter bioceramic case just does not justify a 12-hour wait on a dirty sidewalk surrounded by flippers trying to make a quick buck.
Fair enough.
No matter whose name is printed on the dial, I am passing. What about you?
Well, I completely respect the frustration with the hype and the queues, but I have to vote buy. I genuinely do.
Really? Even with the lines?
Yes, the lines will be a nightmare, and the gray market flippers are incredibly frustrating. But look at what you are actually getting.
Okay, pitch me.
For roughly $400, you are acquiring a fully mechanical, hand-wound movement featuring a genuine royal oak design that was explicitly sanctioned by the notoriously protective Audemars Piguet.
That is true.
It is an unprecedented collision of high-end horology and mass pop culture. Whether you put it on a desk, clip it to a bag, or yes, eventually strap it into a 3D printed wristband.
Which people will do.
They absolutely will, but either way, it is an undeniable piece of watchmaking history. You really shouldn't miss it.
Well, there you have it, a house divided. But one thing we absolutely agree on is this. Whether you view the Royal Pop as a colorful plastic desecration of a sacred luxury icon,
Or you see it as a brilliant pop art gateway to introduce mechanical engineering to a new generation.
exactly, it is undeniably the most disruptive watch story of the year.
It is. And, it leaves us with one final, incredibly provocative thought to ponder as we watch those crowds gather and wait for the sun to come up.
What's that?
If this daring, highly controversial move actually works for AP,
Yeah.
if they pull this off, introduce their shape to 1 million new people, and do it without hurting their elite luxury prestige,
Yeah.
does it open the playbook for the rest of the fiercely independent watchmakers?
Oh, wow.
Think about it. Could we be sitting here in a tent 2 years from now debating the merits of a bioceramic Patek Philippe Nautilus Swatch?
Oh, man. Do not even put that energy into the universe. The internet might actually shatter into pieces if that happens. But for now, the reality is right in front of us. The velvet rope has been trampled, the rules of luxury have been rewritten, and the Royal Pop is here. Find us at TikTok.com and on all podcast platforms.